In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. All praises due to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, the Beneficent, the Merciful. So, Master's Day of Judgment in which we now live, Thee alone do we serve, and Thee alone seek for Thine help and aid. O Allah, please guide us on the right path, path of those upon whom Thou bestow Thy favors, not on the path of those upon whom Thy wrath is brought down, nor those who go astray if they heard Thy teachings. Say He, Allah is one God. Allah is He of whom nothing is independent, but upon whom we all depend. He begetteth not, nor is He begotten, there is none like Him. And I bear witness that none are to be served, worship, praise besides Allah, who came in the person of Master Farrakahn Muhammad. And I bear witness that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is our true servant and last apostle. I mean, we like to recognize and sisters that extended us the greetings of Assalamu Alaikum. We have Brother Calvin Shabazz from Atlanta. We have Brother Yusuf Hakeem from Oklahoma. We have the Rafiq family. We have Brother Abdul Ali from Maryland. We have Brother Mutakabir Ali from New Jersey. And we have Brother Minister Muhammad Salim Bey from Oakland. I'd like to say in the name of Allah, who came in the person of Master Farrakahn Muhammad, and in the name of his last and greatest messenger, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, I'd like to greet the brothers and sisters with the Nation of Islam's greeting words of peace of Assalamu Alaikum. We want to continue with our talk on which one will survive the war of Armageddon. But today, we wanted to start with the April 11, 1959 Pittsburgh Carrier, and the title is Divine Chastisement for Any Man Who Worships the Beast, the Human Serpent. Now this article, or the title of this article comes from Revelations 14, 9 through 10. And the messenger taught us that in the Bible it say the revelation of John. But actually it's the revelation of Yaqub. It was the vision that Yaqub had on the island of Pelan or Patmos. And he has this comes from the March 7, 1959 Pittsburgh Carrier, and the title is The Revelations, the Beast. And he says, last week we discussed the 5th verse of this chapter 17, the mystery Babylon of the revelation of John. And in parentheses he has Yaqub. He says, I hope you will agree with me on the truth of the vision that John, and then in the parentheses again he has Yaqub, saw concerning the final war between his people, the white race, and the people of God, the black nation. So we see he using Yaqub for John. Then he has another article, and this one is October 20th, 1959 Pittsburgh Carrier, and the title of this one was 144,000. He says, let us understand what we are reading. It is prophecy and symbolic of the future that was seen in a vision by Yaqub, the father of the white race, which he saw on the island of Patmos or Pelan 6,000 years ago. He was warning his people of that which would come to them at the end of their time. All praises due to Allah. So that right there is what the book of Revelations is. And we can even read from the white man. See what he say the book of Revelation is. And this comes from the Encyclopedia Britannica. And this is written by the editors. They says, and I'm just going to get to the point. They says Revelation to John appears to be a collection of separate units composed by unknown authors. So the devil don't even know who wrote the book of John. They just gave the book a name, the Revelation of John. And they tell you, if you read the history behind them translating the Bible, they'll tell you which ones, because I remember the first time I found out that the books of the Bible wasn't actually named after the people who wrote them. Right. I was in the Navy taking college courses, a religious course, and he just told us straight up, like it was just known. He was like, the names Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John is not the names of the authors. He said those were the popular names at that time. And they just used them names to name the books after. And I'm looking like, what? And he just said it like we were supposed to know that. Like we was just like, yeah, I already know that. And I'm like, dang, I never knew that. That was the first time. So even if you go and read the history that the white man writes about the translation of the Bible, you will find that a lot of things he didn't know. Because the messenger even said that when they translated the Bible, he said that the Bible was translated by crooks. And he said that the scholars didn't know what they know now. Because he was saying that America hadn't formed into the great nation that it is today. But he said they knew that they was hiding the truth, but they didn't exactly know what it really was. So they didn't have the knowledge that they have today of the truth that they was hiding. So in the article, the messenger says, it's called Divine Chastisement for Any Man Who Worships the Beast, the Human Serpent. And that's Revelations 14:9 through 10. Now he starts this article off with Jeremiah 8, chapter 17. And it says, for behold, I will send serpents, cockatrices, among you, which will not be charmed, and they shall bite you, saith the Lord. The messenger says the above said scripture is a warning to you and me against the love and worship of the devils, the human serpent. Here God promises the willful worshipers of his enemies that he will even send those whom you take for friends above him against you and make them bite you, do you evil. It's the messenger. He didn't just say that the white man was just going to do you evil. He said Allah will send them to do you evil since you taking them as your friends above Allah. And this is the one thing that's different from today's Nation of Islam and the Islam under the messenger. Wasn't no love for the devil under the messenger. Now we can't say what every believer believed in their heart. We don't know. But the one thing we do know is they knew what the messenger expected. That's right. And they knew what it took to be in the temple, to be in good standing. They knew what it was. So they carried it out. Yeah. Those who wanted to be in the temple. Right. We don't know if they really believed it. We don't know if it was really in their heart. But when you read the history of the Nation of Islam during the time of the messenger, you don't find brothers sympathizing with white people at all. Because if it was one thing that every black person knew about the Nation of Islam, they knew they didn't love the devil. Right. They ain't know nothing about Master Farad Muhammad. They might not have knew we fast in December. They might not have knew that the sisters sit on separate sides. But they knew. They believe the white man is the devil. All praise due to Allah. But the thing that the messenger had an article that he wrote on hypocrites. He said the weak Muslims love the hypocrites. He said they love their outer appearance and they love the words they speak. The weak Muslim. Because if it's anything that's not an excuse for no Muslim, and that's to follow somebody that's telling you to sympathize with the devil. Because when you read the articles of the messenger, he's so plain in what he says about the white man. He goes on in this article to say, he says, for believing and obeying the serpent, the devil, after knowledge of God and his religion, Adam, his wife, were punished by the serpent, the devil. He said after they had the knowledge of God and his religion. Because this ain't just talking about lost founders. This talking about Muslims too. Because he's giving us examples. The first example he gave us was in Jeremiah 8. This example he given us is in Genesis, the 3rd chapter, verse 15. And he gave us the revelation of John, or the visions of Yaqub. Telling you, because the messenger said that Yaqub lived for 150 years. That's right. So these visions that he had, that's in Revelations, was before he even saw the white man. Because he never saw the white man. That's right. But he had visions enough to tell us that if you socialize and befriend these devils that I ain't even never seen before, Allah gonna send serpents against you to chastise you. Divine chastisement. This was Yaqub. 6,000 years ago. So the messenger in this article is giving you 6,000 years of divine prophecy. Plus, he's been teaching you for 44 years what it is. But you still gonna find an excuse to love the devil. So he goes on to say, God is not to be mocked. He warns us against loving and taking the devils for friends. Allah alone is our friend, and most certainly is able to make us know it. The black man has ever suffered from his mistake in taking the white race for his friends. From that incident in Eden 6,000 years ago to this day, there is enmity and hatred between the two people, black and white. This cannot be removed except by the removal of one or the other race. Straight up. This was in 1959 in the Pittsburgh Courier. The Messenger used to write these articles for everybody. Because the one thing that people say today, that's an absolute lie. They talk about the lessons. Because in our generation, we love them lessons. We done got spooky about them lessons. We act like, oh, well, the Messenger, he was keeping the lessons for just the Muslims. He wasn't sharing it with the lost found. So what we do is we take the lessons out of the temple so everybody can have it. But if you look at the Pittsburgh Courier, you had a title called, Who is the Original Man? The Messenger explaining who the original man is. You got in Message to the Black Man. You got the making of the devil. That's pretty much lesson number 1. If you go read it. The Messenger ain't had nothing from nobody. All praise due to Allah. But the Messenger had structure. The Messenger had rules. And the Messenger had guidelines. And you had people who didn't want to follow the rules. That's what you had. You didn't have a Messenger didn't hide nothing from no black people. No. Even when you had ministers, captains, and secretaries who were changing the teachings. The Messenger put that in the Muhammad Speaks newspaper. When temple number 2, he said temple number 2 is honeycomb with hypocrites. He didn't keep that a secret. He know that there's going to be some believers and some lost followers that's going to come to temple number 2 feeling like this the temple the Messenger in. You know, everybody in here, you know, this the Messenger's temple. No, it's honeycomb with hypocrites in here. So when you get here, don't drop your guard with these believers. All praises due to Allah. He ain't leave nothing hidden. He lets you know it's honeycomb. So try your luck. It's up to you. That was the Messenger. When his son turned hypocrite, and I was reading that, I had to put it down. Because when you look at the date, when they said that, what's his name? The baby, dang, I forget his name. No, the younger one. The younger, he went to Al-Azhar. Anyway, the baby's son, when he turned hypocrite, he said something in temple number 7 that went against the Messenger's teachings. When the Messenger got word, he said, don't regard, I believe his name was Akbar. Don't regard Akbar Muhammad as a follower of the Messenger. He is now known as a hypocrite. That's what he said about his son. His son, his baby son, that went to Egypt to college, that didn't have to do no kind of work. You know how you feel about your youngest son. Soon as he turned hip, don't regard him as a follower of the Messenger. Straight up. The Messenger didn't hide nothing from nobody. So it ain't no excuse for no black people to be worshiping and loving the devil. It just ain't no excuse. So when we see the Messenger go further in this article, he says this cannot be removed except by the removal of one or the other race. Then he goes on to say, regardless of your good intentions for the serpent, he will bite you just the same. I mean, he giving us all kind of examples. He telling us that no matter how good intentions you have for this devil, he gonna bite you anyway. No matter. The only way to change it is to remove one or the other race. But we want to look at, brothers and sisters, because we always want to use some history. We want to look at this. This is a sister, and she holding up a sign that says, I believe in Jim Jones. Because the Muslims ain't the only ones who fell for Jim Jones. Jim Jones is like how they said about Bill Clinton when they were talking about he the first black president. They was treating Jim Jones the same way. It was a lot of black people who fell for Jim Jones.
That's right.
It wasn't just Wallace.
That's right.
It was a lot of black people that you would be surprised like, what? And this is why you had black people trusting Jim Jones. Because you have so many black people who was in the struggle, they say. They went for Jim Jones. This right here is a picture in 1977. This Jim Jones and this brother right here name is Cecil Williams. He was the pastor of Glade Memorial Church. They giving Jim Jones the Martin Luther King Humanitarian Award. Now this devil came on the scene in San Francisco in 1971. In 6 years, you done had the messenger blasting for 44 years by this time. Everybody know the white man the devil. You got 6 years after this man came to San Francisco and set up shop, now he get the Martin Luther King Humanitarian Award. We see this white man in 6 years. You know how long it took the messenger to be accepted by black people? He had farmland. He got restaurants, schools. He cleaning up black people. The messenger was on the scene probably about 20, almost 30 years before black people accepted him. But you got this devil. He ain't got nothing but one spot in San Francisco. But yet, Martin Luther King Humanitarian Award for this devil. Then, this came from, because this brother right here, Cecil Williams, he was in 1978. He was in the Baltimore Sun. And he said, most of the victims in Guyana were black, said Reverend Cecil Williams of Glade Memorial Church. Too many of their families, it simply looks like Jim Jones was just another white man who betrayed their trust. See, Allah sent that serpent in on him. That's right. All praise due to Allah. Now you say, it looked like he was just another white man. Why you didn't see that before? Ain't no excuse. Ain't no excuse. Ain't no feeling sorry. Because these Muslims who going over there, ain't no feeling sorry for them. None of them. No, ain't no feeling sorry. Because you know, as a Muslim, ain't no feeling sorry. The messenger said Allah will send. That's right. He ain't said the devil was going to come. He said Allah will send for real folk. This ain't nothing that Allah doing that's unfair. Oh, they just don't know. He give you ample time. Ample time. It's enough Muslims now who talking about this stuff for them to see. It's enough Muslims. You got enough of the messenger teachers to see. So we ain't here trying to reconvert them. We ain't trying to sympathize for none of them. No. We just trying to, one, separate ourselves from that. And if it's any black person who's seeking the truth, they'll be able to get it. But we ain't trying to reconvert no Muslims. No. We ain't trying to say this for you so you can find out. No. You get what you deserve. You should have knew. Ain't no excuse for you. No. Because the same one who leading them to that. Let's talk about him for a minute. He was with Wallace when Wallace let Jim Jones come to temple number 2. If you go online and get the picture, this him right here. He was right there. He saw all them black people get killed by Jim Jones. He saw that. So the black man being forgiven, he said, look, I didn't agree with Wallace. I thought what Wallace was doing was wrong. So I left Wallace and I decided to rebuild the nation. We being black, okay, we forgive. They accepted that. If you look at him from the time he started to today, and you go get the Muhammad Speaks newspapers and look at Wallace, he doing the exact same thing. Yes, all praise due to Allah. The exact same thing. The only difference between him and Wallace is Wallace was like, look, I ain't with it. That's the only difference. But him, he doing the exact same thing. The Orthodox Muslim stuff, the Christian stuff, the believing in the devil stuff, all of that, Wallace was doing. And once again, we ain't trying to reconvert no Muslims. We just trying to tell those people who might be seeking the truth so you can get it. We ain't trying to reconvert no Muslims. We ain't trying to save you. We want to make that clear. So all who may be listening, we ain't trying to save. We just trying to get the truth out to those who want it. We ain't trying to reconvert no Muslims. We don't want to get the wrong impression. But this brother was telling them that Wallace played me, pretty much. I wasn't agreeing with what he's saying. The same thing they gonna say. Oh, I wasn't feeling him. That's Scientology. Well, what about when he had them women on stage talking about they was the messengers? Wise. What about that? What about when he said fast with the Orthodox Muslims? What about all that? What about when he said the messenger on the wheel? What about what he be saying about Master Farrakhan Muhammad? They don't even say his name the same no more. They say it like the Arabs. No. So we don't trust you. Straight up. We don't want to hear it. We don't care why you there, and we don't care why you stay. If you leave, it's up to you. It's up to you. Because there's more venom that snake done put in you than just this Scientology. He been putting years of venom in them. So don't you trust him. Straight up. You try, praise due to Allah. Don't you trust no Muslim that trusted another Muslim that said something against the messenger. Because if they'll betray the messenger, what you think they'll do to you? This brother knew what the messenger built. This brother saw Wallace tear it down. He saw all them black people go with Jim Jones. He don't care nothing about you. But they up there helping this brother deceive all these black people to think he loved the black man. He live his life for the... No, he don't. No. Because if he would, let's just give him the benefit of the doubt. Let's say Wallace did trick you. And you was a believer. Because, hey, we all get weak. You could say, yo, the messenger just died. I just went along with it because I didn't know what to do. Let's say you saw Jim Jones do all that to them black people. Would you do it again? If you was a believer? No. Like I ain't doing that again? No. All praise to Allah. You would be telling everybody, remember what Jim Jones did to them black people? You wouldn't do that. It's a hypocrite. That's what it is. We ain't saying nothing to disrespect nobody. We just calling it like it is. A hypocrite is the messenger said the weak Muslims love the hypocrites. That's what he said. This brother said he was a hypocrite.
I think he had a dime in his pocket and had on some shoes that was too big for his feet. But he got there and he had a book in a paper bag. And we met in Hollywood at the hotel where I was staying. And he asked me about Master Farrakahn Muhammad. I said, well, I love him very much, but I don't believe he's God. And he asked me about the messenger, and I said, I love him very, very much, but I don't see him now as the messenger. I see Prophet Muhammad as the messenger. That very day, I got up, I cried. I said, oh, brother, I've been a hypocrite. And he tried to comfort me. I said, don't comfort me. I've been a hypocrite to my messenger and my God.
That's what he said. So we just telling you what a hypocrite do. That's what he said. Now this devil, Jim Jones, took 900 black people and took them to, what was it, Jonestown, Guyana, and had them drink some Kool-Aid or something. All them black people. You got this system. Because not only did the Muslims go along with it, this is a newspaper. This is the 1977 these days People's Forum newspaper. This Huey P. Newton with Jim Jones. when the Muslims had their thing at the convention center in Los Angeles for Jim Jones. Angela Davis sent him the greetings. Angela Davis. The black preacher was with Jim Jones. But then after he killed all them people, it's like, oh, he just turned out to be another ordinary white man. But the one thing that I love about this history is you always got the messenger creeping up somewhere. You always do. Even with these hypocrites. You got the messenger always peek his head out whenever you had these hypocrites representing him and they lying. When Jim Jones, this comes from the Los Angeles Times, Monday, May 24th, 1976. And it's called Nation of Islam Joins First Interfaith Rally. It says, under Wallace Muhammad's leadership, whites have been admitted to membership and friendly relations have been established with Arabic Islamic representatives. Sunday's spiritual jubilee marks the sect's first venture in interfaith cooperation. So the reporters always let it be known, this is something new under him. Same like it was under his father. Right. They always did that when Wallace was around. So then, this the part I like. When Jim Jones got up to speak, this is what he said. It says Jim Jones, a Protestant minister, recalled several years ago, tension was high between his San Francisco church and the neighboring Nation of Islam temple. Tensions was high. They weren't sitting up there talking about, oh, well, the messenger got us reading Dale Carnegie, so, Jim Jones cool. They weren't saying that. The first thing Jim Jones got up and said was, I remember a few years ago when Elijah Muhammad was on the scene. Tensions was high between the Nation of Islam and these devils at this People's Temple thing. And I couldn't find it now because the brothers who originally posted the video, they took their page down. But in like 2013, they had a lot of speeches of Jim Jones. And I was listening to him. And Jim Jones was talking about the incident he had with them brothers in San Francisco. Because they say the Fillmore section of San Francisco was the black part. And Jim Jones went to the black part acting like he was the good white man. But he said out his mouth that the incident that they had with the Muslims, he said a brother hit one of his people in the head with a pipe or it was a crowbar. That's what he said. He said one of the Muslims hit his people in the head with a crowbar. That's Islam during the time of the message. Because we don't talk about a lot about them fights the Muslims had. We don't talk about that. No, we don't talk about that. We too sympathetic today. But Muslims used to fight. That's why I say, go read the Muhammad Speaks newspaper. If you think Muslims was all sympathetic like we are, they weren't sympathetic at all. Muslims used to fight. The messenger said, fight with those who fight with you. Yes. And when the messenger was alive, those didn't just mean black people. Those meant anybody. That's what those meant. Yeah. But in this new school stuff, those be meaning just black people. Those only mean to other black groups as black people. But when the messenger was alive, those meant anybody. Yes. Fight with those who fight with you. That's what it meant. And when you read in the Muhammad Speak newspaper, them brothers fighting, they didn't just get kicked around in the streets either. They used to fight and win. That's Islam during the time of the messenger. So, when this devil got up, the first thing he said was the tensions was high. Because the one thing that people used to report when the Nation of Islam and Wallace took over is two things that happened that they really was shocked about. It's when the Muslims started accepting white people and when they named that temple Malcolm X in number 7 in New York. That was one of the two things that you read that black people was like, how you gonna call all that stuff they used to say about Malcolm X? Now y'all naming the temple? Now, just to show you about these hypocrites. Now, when you read the Muhammad Speaks newspaper under the Messenger, they always will say that the Messenger founded the Muhammad Speaks newspaper. The same liars and snakes who used to write in the Muhammad Speaks newspaper and bear witness to that. Now they talking about Malcolm X founded the Muhammad Speaks newspaper in his basement. Muslims saying that. Muslims. These same brothers who got you going to Scientology. These same brothers who, when you read their article, and that's why it ain't no excuse. Because that video where they got now talking about the Messenger had all it, because his brother asked me that a couple days ago. Because I was telling him the Messenger ain't have all these wives. So what this brother did is he went on YouTube and found that video that say, what really happened? Say, what about this? What about when he's saying that the Messenger had all these wives? And the reason why it ain't no excuse no more today, because the same articles where Muslims is speaking against Evelyn and Lucille, saying their names. These same Muslims that's leading you to Scientology was speaking against them. Yes. These same Muslims that love black people used to speak against Evelyn and Lucille when the Messenger was alive, faking it for him. That's right. But then when he dead, that's why you can't trust a hypocrite. That's right. Because if you gonna turn your back on the Messenger, ain't nothing I can do for you that's gonna eat all praise due to Allah. Ain't nothing I'm about to do for you that's equal to what he did for you. Right. He put you before the world. All of these you know what's that's trying to act like they so special. The Messenger put you before the world. And you tell the world that he had wives? In this article, the Messenger said, this is what the Messenger said. He says, Allah is well able to prove his word. He said, the serpent cannot bite Muslims. They are forbidden to him. Now let's look at that for a minute. Why wouldn't the serpent be able to bite Muslims? True Muslims, he said. Because certain things true Muslims ain't going for. If you tell me the Messenger had other wives when he said he didn't, I ain't going for that. But a weak Muslim would. I ain't going for that. Because I love you as a brother. I love all the brothers. But I love the Messenger. I love Islam. And I love Allah. All praise is due to Allah. When you dealing with a Muslim, his first love is Allah and the Messenger. That's right. That's his first love. And he loved you because you too love Allah and the Messenger. I don't love you because I just love you. Let's be clear. Let's be clear. That's when you know you got a strong brotherhood and a strong sisterhood. Yes. When you built on the foundation of Elijah Muhammad. I don't love you or like you because I love or like you. And I ain't ashamed to say it. Right. I like you because I believe that you like the Messenger like I like him. So if you start saying stuff against him, just like I liked you, I hate you. All praise due to Allah. That's real talk. That's real talk. I hate you. Yeah, that's it. I hate you. That's why for me, I like reading that history with Malcolm X. I love it. Yes, I love it. I love to see how the Muslim turned against them. I love to see how they stood up for the Messenger. I love it. I even like to hear when the Muslim got out and bust his head. I like it, I'm telling you. This the Messenger. You don't talk about the Messenger like that. Because the Messenger said, you got to expect a brother to be a little disobedient. That's what he said. He said it in the laborers meeting. Yeah. So yeah, you was wrong, brother. Right. But your heart was right. All praise due to Allah. We all make mistakes. If I'm going to make a mistake, I want to make a mistake with my heart right. Yes. I don't want to make a mistake and my heart ain't right. Because if you make a mistake in your heart right, we accept you. Yes. So them brothers who bust Malcolm's people in the head, we accept you, brother. You was wrong. You shouldn't have did it. But your heart was right. Yes. That's how it is when you love the Messenger, bro. I'm telling you. I don't be looking at that like, oh, the brother shouldn't have. No, he shouldn't have did it. The Messenger told him not to do it. Right. But his heart was right. All this stuff you see brothers do that's wrong that you accept, you gonna be mad at that? No, he loved the message. I love anybody who love the message. I'm telling you. I'm telling you, I'll try to defend you. If your heart right, I'll try to defend you. Them brothers whose heart was right, they love the message. They made a mistake, give them another chance. That's what I always do to Allah. That's what I'm a sympathize for. One of them type of Muslims. I ain't sympathizing with these do what you want to do Muslims. They're sitting up here being a weak Muslim, letting this hypocrite tell you stuff against the message. I ain't simple, but a brother who heart right, I sympathize with him. Give him another chance. Well, brothers and sisters, we don't want to prolong the time, but I'll leave you as I came in the Nation of Islam's reading words of peace. Assalamu alaikum.
Hard to come up behind that. See, Brother Minister, another round. Yeah, that's what you need today. Fighters, warriors. Thank Allah. Assalamu alaikum, brothers. I can say in the name of Allah, who came in the person of Master Prophet Muhammad, true and living God, we ever thank him. Pray that my midst, the divine leader, teacher, and guide in the person of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. May the peace and blessings of Almighty God, Allah, will be upon him. I thank him, and I thank Allah for the message of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. First, I want to say, it's indeed an honor and a privilege to be a witness bearer in this day and time, bearing witness that there's no God but Allah, who came in the person of Master Prophet Muhammad, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, was the last and greatest messenger. It's an honor. It's a privilege given to all of us who's following the teaching of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. We're blessed, and we must be worthy of it. We have to keep striving in Allah's way to do his will, not our will, his will. And do what is required for you and I. Before I continue, it's a rumor of something going around saying that I was rushed to the hospital with cancer. No. I was rushed to the hospital with cancer. I don't have no cancer. Wherever it came from. I don't have cancer. I don't have high blood pressure, diabetes, maybe a little ache here and there. But I don't have that. I thank Allah, who came in the person of Master Prophet Muhammad. The messenger said, "An old snake in the grass, he bite Muslims now." You know, all this going around. I'm fine. I go to the gym 3-4 days a week, and I feel pretty good. I don't have no cancer. I wasn't rushed to the hospital. All this. The messenger said, he told you and I what they would do. They hate me and my followers. They seek to kill me and my followers. And they also said, whoever have anything in their hearts against a Muslim believer, Allah takes it and reverses and put it on them. So you better be careful. Praise be to Allah. You better be real careful, whoever you are. Because you wish cancer on me, Allah gonna put it on you. Now that's a fact. The messenger said that. So now keep it up. Keep it up. Then you gonna get sick. He gonna put that on you, what you wish on any believer. So that's the God we have on our side. And we very fortunate, brother and sister, got cancer. He told me something. I got cancer. Yeah, they probably just want us to laugh, brothers and sisters. Like the messenger say, he. You know, it's something. You know how the messenger said when they try to make him laugh? He. Huh? I thank Allah, who came in the person of Master Farrakahn Muhammad, for blessing all of us to keep on trucking. In other words, keep on pushing. Stay focused.
Right.
See, you get you off your, stay focused on what's being done, what's being said, and what we should do. Stay focused, because people always try to take you and put you off on it, just to get you off the path.
Right.
See, so this is how we do. So that ain't nothing. You know, that ain't nothing. You know, that's just somebody was trying to be funny. But it's a rule that I want to talk about, a rule that we must live by. What the messenger said about under this rule we must live by. He said that accept your own and be yourself. Accept your own and be yourself. And oneself, we're righteous Muslims. That's what we are. We're righteous Muslims. And by nature, we're righteous Muslims. By nature. So we're very fortunate to know these things. And, you know, there's another saying that's under the under this rule, what we must live by, we have regulations. See, we accept the fact that we're righteous Muslims by nature. That's the spiritual side, the messenger said. But the physical side, he says, is that we are the first and the last. And that there's no people before us. We're the first and the last. We have to understand what this is, you know, what's being said here. And we must submit. All this is in a rule that what we must live by. When we accept our own and be ourselves, be yourself, you're also accepting the guidelines and the regulations. It's not just accept your own, be yourself, be a righteous Muslim. No, but there's something that go with it. There's another thing that go with it, the rule. Just like I say, the rule of law. We have all kinds of law. The golden rule. We have all kinds of things. When you say the golden rule, that's that. The messenger said that they have it. Love for your brother and sister that what you love for yourself. That's the golden rule. Treat people like you want to be treated. That's the golden rule. See? But the message put something else to it. Treat the devil right. He didn't say love him. He said treat him right. See? So we want to be treated right, so we have to treat the white man right. We can't treat him wrong because he's the devil. We know he's the devil. And we know there's no truth in him. But see, he'll come and tell you that rules are made to be broken. There's no rule made to be broken. He tell you us that because he's the one that's breaking them. He breaks all kind of rules. You can't trust treaty. You can look and go to the Holy Quran and see they kick them Jews. They sign a treaty on down the road. They break it. Never keep the treaty. They always break it. Always break the rule. So this was something that you can find it on page 42 of Message to the Black Man. And if you read it and look at it and see all nations, even the devil, they have laws and rules that they have to abide by. We are a nation. We are the nation of Islam under the guidance and leadership of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. This is the nation of Islam that we're under. See? So we have to have regulations, rules, laws, things that govern us. Like any government. We are a government. We have to understand that. We don't want to get away from that. We are a government, a nation. See? Built upon righteousness.
Right.
See? Not wickedness, righteousness. This is what it's built upon. And it said a regulation. See what the regulations is. Just to get a understanding. It said regulations are rules made by a government or other authority in order to control the way something is or the way people behave. All this is in there, the way conduct, the way we act, the way we treat each other, the way we treat our fellow man, all this is under a rule that we must live by. Accept your own and be yourself. So by being righteous Muslims, we have to display our righteousness, our brotherhood, and all this. We have to encourage the lost found brothers and sisters. Allah is God, who came in the person of Master Prophet Muhammad. The will of Allah, the will of the messenger, is the will of Allah. And the will of Allah is the will of the messenger. I took this here. This is good here. It's out of Our Savior Has Arrived. When the messenger, he said that people who want their will to be done, let them go to Allah and the messenger. You check on that. That's just a little segment I took out of that, page 147 of Our Savior Has Arrived. Go in and look at that and you can read the whole thing. And you'll see and you get a good understanding, not only on the will. Allah even, so he said that in this, we don't have a set time to die. It's under this, it's in this, the will of Allah and what must be done. It's under that. It said we don't have a set time to die. We kill ourselves. See? We kill all this time, well, it's your time to go. Allah didn't say there was no set time to go. We kill ourselves. See? In order for us to live, we have to eat the right food. Not only physical food, physical food, mental food too, because one can't go without the other. See? That's the will of Allah, the messenger said, to give us a long life. That's his will. That's his will for us to live a long time. Yes. But in order for you and I to live a long time, we have to be obedient to his will, his law. Yes. That's his will. So we carry into practice his will. See? In our very nature, our will is to live. Oh, it's in there. Go read it. You'll get a good understanding. That's just a little bit that took out of it wasn't that 4-5 sentences. Just in there. But just read the whole thing. And you'll see all his will is what for us, what he wants us to do, what he wants us to live. His will is for us to live good lives, righteous lives. Yeah. See? But we in a government that don't love righteousness. Right. They're against righteousness. The will of Allah, accept your own and be yourself. But we've been in the hands of an enemy. We know this. He made us other than ourselves. We know this. So we have to get back on track. And we have a lot of obstacles and things in our way. We have to make the right decisions. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad was a guide, a leader, who showed us the way. Yeah. Directions. That's what he did. So now we either can let him continue to guide us, or we go a different direction. It's what we choose. Somebody told you, okay, you go make a left at the red light. Now he's giving you some direction. He's showing you some direction. Make a left at the red light down there. But no, you're going to go down there, you're going to make it right. That's right. So you're on your own. You didn't follow instructions. You didn't follow instructions. No. The Messenger of Honorable Elijah Muhammad left us instructions. That's right. He left us the directions. He left us which way to go, where to turn to, what to do, when this happened, what not to do. This won't happen, but if you do this, this going to happen. Right. He laid it all out for you and I. Right. Now, if you choose the right direction, you're going to be all right. Right. But you still have to make that choice. Right. See? The Master said for over 44 years, the white man is the devil. He always will be the devil. Don't ever forget it. Now, somebody come and tell you that he's not the devil, well, that you on the wrong course. Right. You on the wrong. He done said it. Right. All the time Elijah Muhammad taught us It's either coming to pass or came to pass. It's not got here. It's coming. That's right. It's everything that he told you and I. Back like the brother was saying, he not here. He told us what's going to happen, and the things is happening. So we know that we had a messenger to teach us and guide us. Well, he's not here. No, but his instructions is here. So he's here in our hearts and in our minds. We'll never forget that. See? But he's not sitting nowhere physically. See? He passed away like all other prophets and messengers or whatever reformers passed away. All of us going to pass away. See? Physically. But our offspring will live. Our children will live through them. And the messenger's work is living through you and I. That's what it's living through you and I. His works. Living through you and I. And we are successful. We're going to continue to be successful. Because the will of Allah is being done. We're working hard in the cause of Islam. And Allah blessing us. And he's going to continue to bless us as long as we keep Allah and his messenger out front. And it's an honor and a privilege to be a worker and to be doing in this day and time. You should pat yourself on the shoulder because I'm telling you, you can be doing a whole lot of other things, wrong things. See? So be thankful to what's going on, that you're a part of it. It's not going to say, I didn't promise you no smooth going. He said, but I can tell you one thing, you be the winner. Right. So you always can take his words and go back when things and situations that comes up. It's bad situations that comes up. You always can take it, go and take a word and say the message, say, well, hard trials are necessary at that, but true. Take his word, that'll give you a little shot now to get through, to overcome this trial that you're going through. Yeah, it's rough. The messenger said it's going to be rough. He said he didn't promise you no smooth going. He said, but you keep working, you'll be the winner. All this, you come confront it with something. You flash back what the messenger say. That's right. That's what gets us through. That's what gets us through difficulties. We know after difficulty come ease. That gets, so we having some kind of difficulty or something that rose up. Well, you say, well, man, after difficulty come ease. That will ease it a little bit. And the messenger told us what was happening. He told us we got everything that we need, brothers and sisters, to go for ourselves. Everything. But there's going to be some tough road ahead. Tough roads ahead. But we know that it takes a lot of submission. Because we are people that we want to do things our way. It's just the way the devil put it into it. We're just out there. We want to do things our way. But don't go our way. Some of us, it just ain't no way at all. Ain't no way at all if it don't go our way. But we have to submit. Surrender. You know, when you submit, you just surrender. Just give in. Okay, I submit. I surrender. You know. So this is what we have to do when it comes down to making the right decision. Because when we submit, that means surrender, submit. Yes. So we have to submit to Almighty God, Allah's message. You say, well, I done heard this 100 times. Yeah, but the messenger said over and over 44 years that the devil was, the white man is the devil. We kept hearing it, and we still hearing it. Right. And we're going to continue to hear it as long as he's on our planet. Right. See? So we're very fortunate, brothers and sisters, to be followers of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Because you could have been or I could have been somewhere else. But we know it's a rule that we must live by, and these laws and rules, we might say that governs you and I. We might think it's, oh man, it's why is this? Why we have to do this? Can we do? We want to do some of it. We won't do all of it. We like to do just part of it. But we have to do the whole thing. A rule we must live by. Accept your own and be yourself. I thank Allah for blessing me to be a follower of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And I hope and pray Allah what I said, that we got some kind of understanding of what I said. I thank him. And I thank you for listening. Assalamu alaikum.
Sister will rise for prayer. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, all praises due to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, the Beneficent, the Merciful. So, Master's Day of Judgment in which we now live, the alone do we serve, and the alone seek for thine help and aid. O Allah, please guide us on the right path, path of those upon whom thou bestow thy favors, not on the path of those upon whom thy wrath is brought down, nor those who go astray after they heard thy teachings. Say he, Allah is one God. Allah is he of whom nothing is independent, but upon whom we all depend. He begetteth not, nor is he begotten, there is none like him. And I bear witness that none deserve to be served, worship, or praise besides Allah, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad. And I bear witness that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, that true servant and last apostle. Ameen. Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us not to do anything to anyone, and that we wouldn't have done it to ourselves, and treat everybody right, even the devil. Assalamu alaikum.